The anchor of Inside Politics, the co-host of State of the Union. She is with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis in Iowa. Hope he brought his snow boots, and this is not exactly Florida weather today in Iowa, but I know he continues to crisscross the state. Dana, take it away.
Yes. Thank you so much. They were saying that this is not Florida weather. That is an understatement. Thank you so much. We're here in your headquarters here in Urbandale, Iowa. Appreciate you having us here. Someone from your super PAC told me this weekend that they have knocked on over 930,000 doors. They have almost 1,700 precinct captains on caucus night tonight. Do you feel confident that your organization and the people who support you are going to come through tonight?
I think so. I mean, they've been doing this over many months, building relationships with people. So getting them committed to caucus by the tens of thousands at this point, but then also staying in touch with them, ensuring that they're going to come out. And so they have a huge number of people that they're going to be able to turn out tonight. And then having those caucuses organized in the precincts, people are giving speeches at these things. And I think that some people have underestimated the extent where there's fluidity with this. Someone's like, yeah, I like Trump, but so give them a reason to support me, and that could be the difference. So I think you're going to see some fluidity in the caucus sites itself, and that's why this is kind of an interesting process, because it's not just going and punching a ticket and leaving. People are actually going to think about things, and some minds will be changed.
Define success tonight.
I think you guys will know it. I mean, I've appreciated actually.
Yeah, we'll know some things, but how do you define it?
Well, I think that, there's been a lot of narrative trying to say that, that we haven't been doing well, when I think we were doing things on the ground that may not be as flashy, but that are going to come to fruition.
What's your narrative?
And so I think people are going to say there's only two possible nominees, Donald Trump or Governor DeSantis. We're the only ones that have strong support amongst bedrock Republican conservative voters. And to win a Republican nomination, you have got to be able to do that. I think Iowa will show that very clearly. And here's the thing. I mean, a lot of these voters that are still undecided, it's almost all decided between Trump or me in terms of what they're doing. And I think that's just kind of where the party is. And I think that'll be apparent tonight.
I met some voters, actually more than I anticipated, who are deciding between you and Nikki Haley.
Well, that's great. So get out to caucus and caucus for me. And here's why. Because ultimately, Nikki Haley could not possibly beat Donald Trump. She doesn't have enough support amongst core conservatives. I'm somebody that's delivered on all these issues. I've had incredible electoral success and policy success. So caucus for us, and you won't regret it.
So you said you're not going to totally define it, but you did say that you think it's going to be Donald Trump and you. What if you come in third?
We're gonna do well.
What is well?
We're gonna do well. Well, look, we have created people that are ready to go, that are gonna go. And I would just say, everybody out there, we want you to participate in the process. This is an important opportunity. You're never gonna have an opportunity as a voter to have your vote pack as much punch as it is going to be tonight, because, the 186,000 people in 2016, it's probably going to be less than that. And it may even be significantly less than that. So if you go out and you bring some family members and you bring some neighbors, that's going to make a huge, huge difference for us. And so we're asking people to do it. We're going to do well. Look, I think that sometimes these expectations get set, and that can be bad for some candidates too. And I think you'll see an interesting story emerge with that.
Marco Rubio, who, of course, is the senator from your state, fellow Republican, endorsed Donald Trump this weekend. Was that a gut punch?
No, I mean, I think Donald Trump is the candidate of the Washington politicians. I mean, he has gotten a lot. Me, on the other hand, I've gotten the support from state legislators here in Iowa. Of course, the governor, Kim Reynolds, who's a great governor. You look in New Hampshire, you look in South Carolina. I mean, I have more endorsements in South Carolina from state officials than Donald Trump does, and way more than Nikki Haley does. And I think it's a different viewpoint. I think the Washington folks, they're scared of Donald Trump primarying them or whatever he's going to do. The state folks, they're concerned about the top of the ticket. They want to see a strong performance. And then they look at what we've done in Florida, be like, man, this guy's a leader. He gets things done. So it's an interesting. Donald Trump is the party of the Washington, D.C. establishment. They've lined up behind him. I'm the candidate that would be a change agent in Washington, D.C. And I like that contrast.
I was at Donald Trump's event yesterday, and he was boasting about the fact that he pushed to have an early strategy to crush you, even before you were officially a candidate. They spent a lot of money on ads to define you before you could define yourself. Does he have a point? And do you think, looking back, that maybe you should have gotten in a little bit earlier to push back against some of that?
Well, here's the thing. I won one of the biggest victories. I won the biggest victory any Republican governor's ever won in the history of Florida. I delivered on all these things Republicans wanted to do. I go into the legislative session with supermajorities. We're doing universal school choice, all the stuff that any Republican has ever dreamed about. And what is Donald Trump doing in his home state? Is he cheering us on because we're doing so much great stuff for the people? No. He's attacking me. And so it just shows he puts Trump first rather than the cause first, because any Republican in Florida was ecstatic by the fact that we were in there getting all this stuff done. I mean, we did things that he promised and never delivered on. And so how he did it. But here's the thing. I made promises to the voters in 22. I had to deliver on those. I mean, yes, I could have just turned around and launched a campaign, but I had to do what I said. And so I can now say I've delivered on 100% of my promises. I got elected to be able to do those things, not to just run for another office. So I don't think there's any way you could have done it any different and I couldn't have been true to myself.
You said over the weekend, you can be the strongest, most dynamic, successful Republican and conservative in America, but if you don't kiss that ring, meaning Donald Trump's ring, then he'll trash you. Respectfully, you, to use your term, were kissing the ring a little bit when you were running for governor, and he talks a lot about that. Was that something that you regret now?
No. Look, when he was president, I supported his policies. He was under assault from the left and the media. And so I was happy to do that because he was our chance to get things done in a positive direction. I think now, though, you're in a situation where somebody like Governor Reynolds, he's out there launching attacks against her. Why? She's done a great job. Iowa Republicans universally acknowledge that. Why does he do that? It's all because she's supporting me. So that's a different situation when you're in a primary situation. I want Republicans to do well. If someone's endorsed me, great. If they haven't, if they're doing a good job, I'm happy for that. I want our party to do well. Donald Trump is not that way. He wants to trash Governor Reynolds, who's gold here in Iowa, simply because she's on my team.
Just a couple more questions. You leave here and you don't go to New Hampshire, which is the next contest state. You go to South Carolina.
Well, we're doing a town hall on your network.
No, I know.
But the day after Iowa, we will be in both South Carolina and New Hampshire. And I think some people are reporting that we're not doing New Hampshire at all. We'd always planned on doing the CNN town hall, and we're also going to do our own town hall in the afternoon. So the question is, we didn't have anything scheduled for the morning. So we're like, you know what? We haven't been to South Carolina yet this year. Let's go. And it's a way to highlight. And I mentioned to you earlier, we have like 84 endorsements from current and former state legislators. That's like 5 times what Haley has. She was the governor of the state of South Carolina. It would be inconceivable that she could come into Florida and rack up endorsements, So
you're trying to make a point about Nikki Haley by going to South Carolina?
Well, I think just generally speaking, South Carolina is not a good electorate for somebody that doesn't do well with core Republican voters. And so I think obviously she has to perform here in Iowa. There's a lot of real estate between now and then. But I think that that's a great electorate for me. And as this thing gets closer and people are paying more attention, we've got a lot of runway there.
One last question. You've been on the trail with your 3 small kids. Madison, Mason, and Mamie. Mamie's probably too young to understand. Can you just give a sense of what it's been like and what do you think that they will or should remember about this experience?
Well, they remember some of the things like going to the Field of Dreams movie site. They remember their first snowfall. They had never seen snow as Floridians before they came up here, going to they've got back to go to farms. They got to go to a lot of stuff. So just in that sense, I think they've had fun. They like riding on the bus. We don't want to put them in an environment where they're not having a good time, but they have enjoyed it. But I don't think even our first grader really understands kind of what it is. They know I'm governor. They know we're running for president. But I think it's actually been better that they're at that age because a lot of the nonsense that gets thrown at you kind of goes over their head. Whereas I feel like if they were teenagers, they probably would take it a little bit more personally.
Governor, thank you so much. Thanks for inviting us in here. Are you going to eat some of those donuts? Yeah, they're very well fed here at the DeSantis headquarters. Phil and Poppy.
Dana Bash, great interview as always. You always get an ovation wherever you go. Dana, we'll be back to you throughout the course of the morning and afternoon. Thank you.